Hey makeup friends! Somehow the month of January has come to an end. That month has felt interminable to me. I am very happy to see February upon us, but what I thought we would do today is to look back at January, and I'm going to share with you all of the items that I tried throughout the month and give you my thoughts on them. So let's get into this. As always, I want to start off by welcoming you back to my channel, or if you're new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and on my channel we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. Before we get into the items, I do want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, ANA LUISA. I've worked with them a few times in the past, and I really do stand behind the brand. Not only do they have a wide range of timeless and classic pieces to choose from, but they're also climate neutral and carbon neutral, and their prices start at $39, which is totally reasonable for the quality of the products that you're receiving. As I said, they have a wide range of classic, timeless items to choose from, and that's why I love their products so much. These aren't super trendy items in that you're not going to purchase them and then have to replace them in a few months' time because the trends have changed. And I think that that really does help to add to the sustainability as well. For example, there's this bracelet here in the style Harry. I chose this because of how fine and dainty it is. I think it's the perfect addition to any outfit, from casual all the way up to formal wear. And I do find that there are so many options on the ANA LUISA site that you're bound to find something to fit anybody's sense of style. And currently ANA LUISA is holding a sale where you buy one item and you get the other at 40% off. My link will be down below in the description box, so if you are interested in giving yourself the gift of jewelry or giving it to somebody else, please be sure to go and click that link and head on over to the ANA LUISA site. Alright, so first up, let's talk about the items that I received in PR throughout the month of January. And first up, let's talk about the Space Age highlighters from Kaleidos. They very generously sent me their entire highlighter collection, as well as their highlighting brush, which, by the way, I highly recommend. This is so nice. It's very densely packed, but still fluffy enough to really buff the highlighter into the skin so that you don't just get that really harsh line. Really enjoy this. These highlighters are stunning. There is a shade for every preference out there. They're beautiful. They even have a multi-chrome highlighter now called Gifted. I'm going to insert a clip with the swatches of all of them, but whew, do we see? I mean, it's kind of just showing up as purple on here, but trust me, she is multi-chrome and she is beautiful. So these are very smooth texture. There's not a lot of glitter in there. They're not chunky. If you like a blinding highlight, these will get it done. Of course, you can buff it out so that it's not quite as bright, but they've got everything there from green, pink, purple, multi-chrome to your traditional more champagne kind of colors or light pinky peach ones. There's something for everybody. They're beautiful. So once again, thank you so much, Kaleidos. I love these. I love them so much. The other item that I received in PR this month is the newest palette from Gourmand Girls. This is the C'est L'Amour palette. I did do a dedicated review video on this palette, so I'll go ahead and link that up here for you. This palette, it makes my heart so happy. This is what I love to see when it comes to Valentine's Day palettes, where it's not just pink straight across the board. I love that this palette, as I said in my review of it, I love that it is very versatile. This inclusion of the black just takes it to the next level. You can go deep and dramatic with this, or you can stick to the lighter, more neutral tones. It can be office appropriate, it could be date night appropriate. You can basically do whatever kind of look you want to do with this palette. It performs beautifully. I love this one. Now, some of the items that I tried in January, I actually purchased in December, but I figured for this year, let's talk about the items like each month, what I try rather than what I bought. I think that's just going to make my life easier going forward, because last year I would share what I bought and then the following month I would go back and review, and it became very disjointed for me and it became very difficult to keep everything organized. So for 2022. Anything I tried in a particular month, I will review at the end of that month for you. Subject to change, you never know. I mean, I have these ideas, I think they're gonna work, and then ultimately sometimes they don't. So it's still a learning curve over here. But I figured because I tried these in January, we're going to include them. Okay, you got it. All right, so this one here I actually ordered on Christmas Day because they were offering free international shipping that day. This is the palette from Christina Sacalius. This is the, oh gosh, Luce del Sol, I believe is how you pronounce it. This is an Australian brand. She is an Australian makeup artist, and this is her first palette release. I think she also had a highlighter or two, and then a few lip products, but all I purchased was the palette. The palette itself was very pricey. I believe this was like 105 Canadian. I think it was very pricey. I will fully admit that. But for me, at any rate, if I'm going to spend that kind of money on a palette, I want it to be a palette that I can get a ton of use out of. And so for me, spending it on a neutral palette makes more sense than it would for me to spend it on a very bright and colorful palette, because neutrals are my wheelhouse now. This is what I gravitate towards. This is what I wear to the office 5 days out of the week. So this one fits the bill. And she is beautiful. Beautiful. I love that you have the row of shimmers and the row of mattes. I love that the mattes in here, you have that nice range from like the cream here all the way down to a really deep chocolatey brown. I love that it didn't go all the way to black because I think the brown is just so much easier to work with on a day-to-day basis, and that you have quite the range of colors in these shimmers. So for being a very neutral palette, I think that it is very versatile. What's more, these mattes, they pack a punch. So a little goes a long way, but they blend out so nicely. These shimmers are gorgeous. I'll just pick up a few here to show you. They're not like, I don't want to say that they're powdery, but they're not a wet formula either. They are a dry formula, but they don't fluff off and flake off all over the place. All that to say, they're very easy to pick up with a brush, but you can see just how high impact they are. They last all day on the eyes. They don't flake off. They don't like crease up into like one little line in the crease of my eye. They perform beautifully. I have no buyer's remorse in this one, even though it was an expensive palette. Now these two I have also done a dedicated review on, so again, I will stick them in a card for you. But I ordered these on the 26th of December and they did not arrive until about a month after that, despite the fact that I paid for express shipping, which promised 3-day delivery. I was very bitter about that because I went the extra mile to pay for the expedited shipping. The least you could do is either refund me the money that I spent on the shipping or, you know, make do on the promise that you said, which was 3-day delivery. Regardless, Bridgerton and Pat McGrath. So I picked up the eyeshadow palette and the cheek trio. I've got to say, of the two, I like this one the most. It's not that I dislike this palette. I think that it performed really beautifully. I think that this shade is absolutely stunning. Like, she is gorgeous, and you can make some really pretty looks with this. And I might just, you know, incite a riot in the comments here. I'm just not blown away by Pat McGrath. I'm just not. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because there's so much hype every time she does a release that I just have these like insanely high expectations on the performance, but they always leave me wanting something more. And I can't say that it's a bad palette. It's not. These shadows perform perfectly well. It's just, I don't understand why there's so much hype around it. I don't know. I mean, they're good. I'm not going to knock this palette. I gave it a favorable review. I didn't have any concerns about how these shadows actually applied, but it's not like hold on to your butt status. You know what I mean? Like, they're just not incredible. I don't know. Please don't come for me. No disrespect to Pat McGrath at all. I just don't quite understand the level of fervor around her releases. Let's move on. Let's finish it up with the last eyeshadow palette that I tried in January, and it's an old one. This is from Lorac. I've only recently discovered Lorac, and I'm like, what rock was I hiding under? I've heard of them, I've seen them on YouTube for years, and I just never thought to buy any of their products. Holy crap, they're amazing. They're so good. So if you liked the look of the Christina Sacalius one, but the price tag makes you clutch your pearls a little, this one here, kind of the same kind of idea. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. This is the Lorac Unzipped, I believe. It's got a zipper on it, so I think it is, but it doesn't actually say what it is. I think this is just the plain, yeah, unzipped. There it is on the inside. So there's like unzipped gold, unzipped something else. This is just the OG unzipped, I guess. But the thing that I find with Lorac, and I do have a few of their other palettes that I picked up probably November and December of last year, is that they look a lot different once they're swatched out than they do in the pan, and they look much prettier swatched out. The pans kind of undersell these palettes. Like, they're so buttery smooth, they blend so nicely, and the shimmers are really pretty as well. I have no complaints about these. Let's see, how are my eyes holding up? I didn't touch it up. I applied this at 8 o'clock this morning. It is 4 p.m. and you can see there's no creasing going on there. It's still reflective. Nothing is faded. I am really happy with how these hold up. They apply beautifully. I will say the mattes are very soft, so they do kick up quite a bit in the pan, but all that to say, you do a little tap tap off, they blend beautifully, and I don't experience any fallout. So if you're looking for an all neutral palette, this is one that I can get behind, and this has a much nicer price point than the Christina one. All right, let's shift focus to some base products. So I did pick up the newest primer from Benefit. This is the Professional Light Primer. So it's basically like the Professional, but it has more water content is what I can suss out at any rate. But I do find this is incredibly blurring, and it's not as heavy as their original Professional. I don't have that, so I can't do like a side-by-side comparison, but I have tried it in the past. I didn't like it because it was too heavy for my skin and for what I need, and I did find that it had like a very silicone-y, slippery kind of feel, which I didn't like. So this one is very blurring, but it has more of a consistency of like a skin cream. There's a tiny little bit of slipperiness, but nothing that sets my teeth on edge like most silicone-y kind of primers do. And I do find that the makeup blends out really nicely over top of it. So this is one that I have been enjoying. Also, if you hear a lot of thumping, footsteps, giggling, squealing, it's my daughter and her friend. 9-year-old girls are loud. I've asked them to be quiet. They have a different interpretation of it than what I do, so we're just gonna roll with it. Okay, moving on from there, I did try 2 new foundations in the month of January. So first up is the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation, which I have in Deauville, I believe is how you pronounce it, L4. I have filmed a review and wear test. I don't know if that will be up by the time this video goes up. If it is, I'll put a card. If not, it's coming soon. Suffice it to say, I do like this. I don't love it, but I like it. I'm not entirely sure what I don't love about it. I think what it is that on at least 1 or 2 occasions when I've worn it, it has adhered to a few little drier areas on my skin. Dryness is not really an issue that I typically deal with, although it's been -30 for 3 weeks and it's been effing cold. So our heater has been working overtime. My skin is as dry as it's going to get. And I did notice that it was clinging to a few little patches. Not every time I wore it, but there was a couple. So jury's still out on it. I do like it. I think it looks beautiful on the skin, but it's not like everybody has to run out and go get this kind of product for me, if that makes sense. See my full review for more thoughts. Okay, also, I tried this one here. So this is from the drugstore. This is the Rimmel Kind and Free Moisturizing Skin Tint Foundation. I have it in the shade 150 Rose Vanilla. I was a little concerned that the word rose in there was going to mean that it was going to be too pink for me, but happily it works. I really like this. I really like this. You know what, I've tried Rimmel foundations in the past and I've always really gotten along with their base products. I don't know what it is, but they seem to like my skin. CoverGirl, on the other hand, not not so much. But this one wears really nicely. I haven't done a full review on it yet. If you're interested, let me know. But I'll give you the quick rundown here. Obviously it's a skin tint. It's very light coverage, but it's also very lightweight. And I find that when you have a lighter amount of coverage, it wears longer throughout the day. That's the case with this as well. I don't notice it like sliding down my face. It doesn't get heavy or greasy feeling. It's just a really nice product to wear on an everyday basis. So I've been really happy with this one. Now, another product that I've done a full wear test and review on is the newest concealer from KVD. This is the Good Apple Concealer, and I have it in Light 105. For frame of reference, I'm typically like NC 20, so I'm typically light with warm or golden undertones. This is very light. So this is for fair to light skin tones. I did mention this in my review video, but I saw it go up on the Sephora website. There was maybe like 3 or 4 shades that were available early. So I snagged the one closest to mine just so that I could test out the formula before it hit the market. I can make it work, like I can blend it out and it works. It's not as light as I thought it was going to be, but just in case you are like sort of similarly complected to me, I would probably go a shade or 2 deeper than this one. So at any rate, as you will see in the review video, this held up so well, so well throughout the day. It wasn't like patchy under the eyes. It didn't look dried out. A little goes a very long way. There's some excellent coverage in this. It did crease, so it does claim to be crease resistant. It did crease, but to be fair, it creased in the deepest creases that I have under my eyes. So any of like the really fine lines that I've got going on under here, no issues. It's just like the big like Mariana's Trench ones that I have that this one collected in. But as I said in my review, when I was just sort of looking straight ahead, you couldn't really see it. So it's not really that big of a deal to me. Overall, what I'm more concerned about when it comes to concealer is like this area right in here. Sometimes at the end of the day, concealers can just look like a powdery, dried out mess underneath there. And this did not do that. I am very impressed with it. We've already talked about the Nars foundation, but I also picked up a setting powder from Nars. I picked up their pressed light reflecting setting powder, and frankly, it was the packaging that got me. What can I say? I'm a sucker for cute, and this just made my heart happy. I don't remember this being part of their original Claudette collection, but it says Claudette on it, so maybe they brought back the packaging just for limited edition for I don't know. This is a long-standing product in their lineup, just in their regular black packaging, but the hearts, they got me. Gotta say, the powder, not fantastic. It's really not. I use it more as like a finishing powder than I do a setting powder. It is very light reflecting, I will say. There is like a little bit of a shimmer in there, not glittery, but a bit of a shimmer. It's almost slippery in terms of its feel, so I'm not in love with the powder. Love the packaging. Don't love the powder. I will use it, and like I said, I use it as a finishing powder, so I use very little of it, but I think if you're in the market for a setting powder, there are better on the market. The Dior No Powder Powder, the LYS powder, those ones are much better in my opinion, but I got sucked in by the packaging. And finally, we have one lonely little lip product to talk about. This is the Sigma Renew Lip Oil, and I have it in, oh my god, tiny print. I have it in All Heart. It is what I'm wearing right now. As you can see, it is very sheer. It feels a little bit more like a lip gloss than it does a traditional lip oil. It's not like slippery on the lips. There's no like taste to it. It doesn't have that like tingly sort of mentholated feel to it, which I just cannot stand. I cannot stand that in a product. Side note, if you've tried the Fenty Heat Gloss, Fenty Gloss Bomb Heat, Fenty whatever the hell that thing is, let me know. Does it tingle? Does it hurt? I'm curious about them, but not curious enough to try one because I cannot get on board with that. So that's my side note. Sorry, I digress and distract myself. Let's get back to this guy. I've just topped it up again. As you can see, it is very sheer, it is very shiny. It does wear away very quickly, but I expect that from a lip gloss, so I'm not upset about that. It has a giant doe foot, but it is very easy to apply. And like I said, it has enough thickness to it that it's not just sliding around all over the place. It's not camping out in the corners of my mouth. It's not creating those little strings between my lips. So I have no issues. I like this instead of like a lip balm because I just feel a little bit more put together when I have something shiny on my lips. So I can just throw this in my purse and touch up as I go. Of course, I wear a mask pretty much everywhere now, so it's kind of negated, but at least when I'm sitting at my office, I can feel pretty, right? So there we have it, guys. Those are all the items that I tried in the month of January. I would love to hear from you in the comments. What are some items that you tried? What are you loving? What disappointed you? All of that good stuff. I want to thank ANA LUISA once again for sponsoring today's video, and just a reminder to you that their sale is ongoing currently, and I will have them linked in the description box. But with all of that said, I'm going to wrap the video up here. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed already, I ask that you consider doing so. But for now, I will see you in my next video, and until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.